Hello and welcome to CSGO is gone and it's now an Game Store exclusive. I am joined here by TenZRT. I'm usual host Joe Scorn, and welcome.
Well, I don't think I understand the intro. I'm gonna be honest.
Okay. For some reason, CSGO was deleted from Steam temporarily, and
What?
the big joke was that it got deleted because it's now an Epic Game Store exclusive. But I have no idea why it was deleted, and then it just came back up. So I guess it was like a bug or something.
Yeah, that's.
I was like, it's not really newsworthy, but it's like I'll just put it in the intro.
That's a good meme.
It's a good meme, right? Let's get right into the news. Unless there's anything you want to talk about before we start trailers.
No. Let's get straight to it.
Okay, so first up we have Minecraft Dungeons. Minecraft Dungeons coming back with that hot new Flames of the Nether DLC. Watch the DLC trailer. Finally, we got Bastions in Minecraft Dungeons. I don't know if there were like Bastions and Hoglins and Nether stuff in Minecraft Dungeons before this update, but there is now.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah. Wait, is the massive cleaver like a new item?
Maybe it says there's new items.
Yeah.
Something called Ancient Hunts, new areas, and much more. Let's have a look at the patch notes. 6 new levels, new mobs and bosses, new gears and uniques, new cosmetic items, and much more. Microsoft's area have unique secret sub-areas and quirks that players can only discover by playing the levels themselves. The free portion of Flame of the Nether Minecraft Dungeons includes Apocalypse Plus changes. So Minecraft's Dungeons' highest difficulty level is seeing massive changes. Ancient Hunts, which is what I was talking about, is the missing link for Minecraft's Dungeons endgame is finally here. Players can spend items and enchantment points to create procedurally generated levels with near endless replayabilities. This is like rifts in Diablo 3.
Yeah. Wasn't the difficulty like one of the big problems with the original release of the game? Like it didn't really ramp up.
Yeah, people were saying like Minecraft Dungeons was like baby's first ARPG sort of thing.
Yeah.
Where it was like
you couldn't. It didn't go from like easy to hard. It just went from like easy to medium.
Yeah, I think people said like it was quite short on content. There wasn't a lot to do end game, and then it was like it was very easy. So it was more like designed towards kids, which makes sense because that's the main target audience for.
Absolutely.
But I
Minecraft. Like kids can learn and like get quite like they can like play quite challenging things eventually, wouldn't they? Keep playing, so I guess like a scaling.
I still haven't played Minecraft Dungeons. When I get Xbox Game Pass, I will tell you if Minecraft Dungeons is worth playing.
Right.
I like Minecraft and I like ARPGs, so
yeah,
definitely.
I really love the art style is actually really cool. I was going to say though, the warped trees look way better in this than in Minecraft. Right. They should add those. Make them more weeping willow trees in Minecraft, that's what I'm saying.
Let's move on to the next Minecraft announcements. Minecraft Dungeons is going arcade. So if you haven't played Minecraft Dungeons yet, would you want to go to a colourful co-op cabinet and a physical arcade, Tony, in 2021?
I don't understand. Like, is this like an actual rendering of the cabinet, or is this?
No, there's going to be like real cabinets that they put in arcades.
Yeah, but is this image like what they're actually planning to make it look like, or is it like a mock-up right now?
So the cabinet itself is going to be 4-player co-op, and the entire game is going to be slightly redesigned for the arcade. Yeah. So some of the things they're doing is they're actually making a physical card reader. So when you get loot in the game, you can like swipe the card that you unlocked from your last play session to keep that gear for your next playthrough. Sort of thing.
Okay, interesting.
So they're kind of doing like a Amiibo style, like physical items that you can get to scan into the game and then use it next time, sort of thing. I assume it's gonna. I don't know if those things are gonna cost money or maybe you just have to pay money every time you want to play on the cabinet. I guess that's how it's gonna work. But there is replayability for people who've played the game again to come back and scan in their items.
Yeah.
This is in partnerships with Play Mechanics, who are quite a successful arcade game developer. They've done some other things, like they've made Aliens Armageddon machine, a Monopoly machine, a Pink Panther machine, a Walking Dead machine.
So arcades still make money then in
Nerf
some
Arcade.
way.
I think they're very popular in Japan still.
Yes.
Arcades, but
aren't they coming back in America as well, right? Like, aren't they kind of slowly creeping back in?
Well, the problem is, COVID has just destroyed any resurgence of arcades right now, because it's a pretty bad time to launch one. I was saying, like, launching an arcade cabinet would be a ballsy move outside of the pandemic, but let's see how strong the Minecraft brand is, because arcades are not the big boom bits. Because we talked about previously on the podcast, even Sega recently was cutting out of their game arcade making part of their business and separating it from the game making business, potentially to maybe even dissolve that part of it if it got to that point.
I guess Mojang and Microsoft have money to burn though, so
yeah, and I guess, like, because I immediately would look at this and go, oh, Japan, but they're launching this through the US first. So a limited number of Minecraft Dungeon arcade cabinets are currently being distributed across North America for testing, and more will be released later this year.
I feel like Minecraft does have a good brand. Like, I feel like if you're like a child and like you see like a Minecraft arcade cabinet, you go, oh my god, that looks pretty cool.
I do think Minecraft has a very strong brand, and this will be a very good like test for how strong the Minecraft brand will be. Whether people will go, people who go to the arcade will go, oh, I want to play on the Minecraft arcade to see what it's like, or people who are big Minecraft fans might want to go, well, I'm going to go to the arcade just to play this arcade experience.
Maybe like they play it and go like, oh, you can also have this experience on your PC or the Xbox Game Pass.
Well, with the monetization on this, like we don't fully we don't have full information on the monetization, but I'm assuming it's going to be you kind of pay every time you want to play, sort of thing.
Yeah,
sounds like they're kind of making a physical arcade game with mobile monetization. Why don't they just make a mobile game? Oh wait. Minecraft Go shutting down,
Yeah.
That
rip Minecraft.
Well, because like we say how strong the Minecraft brand is. Obviously, Pokemon Go massively successful. The Pokemon brand's massive. Minecraft Go comes out, Minecraft Earth, and it just was not as it was I think it was very confusing as well to a lot of people, just exactly what Minecraft Earth was.
I've watched people play it and just like, so it's like a really grindy gathering experience outside, which doesn't like. If you explain Pokemon Go, it's like you go outside and you find random Pokemon and you catch them. That sounds really exciting.
Yeah, the appeal of Pokemon Go is it's giving you the Pokemon experience in real life by creating the Pokemon through AR.
And gather plants, stone, and dirt. Like, that's not exciting.
Well, we'll see, because I don't know if it's out yet, but there was the Witcher AR game was coming out, and there was a Harry Potter one as well, which I haven't kept up with these AR games at all, because I'm just not interested in them.
Pokemon Go's I'm not really interested in Pokemon Go, but like it's the only one I'd be willing to try. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah. Okay. I think I bricked one of my phones trying to play Pokemon Go, actually.
Really?
Well, it's because, like...
Too intensive.
No, I really wanted to play Pokemon Go, but I had, like, a jailbroken version of Android. And it was not letting me play Pokemon Go, so I tried to set it back to stock. And then setting it back to stock, I didn't know what I was doing, and I, like, broke the phone. And then I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. And, yeah.
Now an Apple man.
Yeah. It's just too simple. I'm just simpleton. I have to have a phone that just does everything for me. I can't be sideloading APKs.
I don't sideload stuff either, but yeah. Anyway. Actually, I have done that. I've done one. That's not the side.
Well, that's a very easy way to play Pokemon on your phone. Is you just sideload a Pokemon emulation ROM.
That's true. That's true.
Anyway. Next up, we have Alien Fireteam announcement. A brand new Aliens game coming. So it's going to be a co-op third-person survival shooter from the Alien franchise coming to consoles and Steam in summer 2021. As we can see, we got a great little cinematic trailer of what this is going to look like. There is gameplay, which I'll show in a bit. I don't know how this photo got here. There's just a picture of Randy Pitchford. I don't know what he's got to do with aliens. For the last time anyone talked about aliens. But IGN put out a gameplay video, which I did watch part of. And apparently there's going to be over 20 different aliens. So, like, you're going to have, you're going to have, like, the normal xenomorphs, but then there'll be one that'll be like an acid spitter, and he'll try and attack you from range. And basically, and you carry 2 primary weapons. So basically, what I got from
sounds like Left 4 Dead.
Yeah, I was gonna say what I got from this was it seems very much like Left 4 Dead or World War Z, but with xenomorphs.
I can get behind that.
Which I think is probably one of the best things you could do with the franchise, other than like a straight up horror game. Yeah, like Isolation. Yeah. Like, I think Alien has a very strong like brand with its aliens, so this is obviously one of the go-to things to do with the IP. So I think this makes a lot of sense, because I think with the Predator IP, they made that isometric game where it's like 1 predator versus 4 humans, sort of like similar to DBD or something. They did that with the Predator license, but I think this is probably a better idea. That was an Epic Games Store exclusive as well, which is why no one's ever heard of it. It's usually when you come in without a very strong advertising push, and then you launch straight to Epic, then it doesn't get through the main media cycle as well. But
yeah, that's true.
What do you think about a new Aliens game? Are you still scorned after Colonial Marines? Would you trust another Aliens game?
I don't trust Randy with the Aliens game.
Right, but let's have a look who's making this. This is this has been developed by Cold Iron Studios in collaboration with Disney's 20th Century Games. So this is not a Gearbox game. So it's got
who owns the rights to Alien? Or I guess who owns the rights to make games for Alien? I guess
20th Century Fox, which is owned by Disney now.
Right, okay. They own everything.
Yeah, Disney owns everything.
I don't know why they're allowed to own everything, but apparently they are.
So let's have a look. Go Cold Iron Studios, because I honestly don't know much about them.
No.
Apparently they were bought by Daybreak Games. I assume that they had the license maybe from Fox, and then they were maybe having some issues, and then
it's Fox publishing it, I guess.
Yeah, they're the
right.
They are the publisher, I believe. So Daybreak. They are a developer. I don't know if they're probably. Let's have a look. It's got them listed on stuff like EverQuest, H1Z1, Lord of the Rings Online. Are they
H1Z1? Okay.
Well, I think. Oh, they're the developers of H1Z1. Okay.
Right, that's what they've been doing.
But then I think the other games like Lord of the Rings Online, like EverQuest stuff, they're the publisher sort of thing. Right. So I think they moved to be a publishing company. Anyway, basically, just to say, there's really not a lot of information about Cold Iron Studios on the internet right now. So this seems like one of their first projects, maybe even. I'm really not sure, like, how many. At least not like any recognizable stuff that you can get.
Is this the first time we're seeing like content for this game? Because like they seem to be going like heavy out the gates on like gameplay over
Yeah,
anything else.
like the trailer came out and then very quickly we had like the IGN trailers showing off
But even
gameplay. So
but even the trailers, like I realize it's not the same as gameplay, but it's like it's very like it's like clearly like in-game capture, like obviously fancied up for like camera angles, but like it's like from the game.
yeah, so on this game, I would say we honestly don't know a lot about the studio. Gameplay looks promising from what I've seen, but I would just wait until this comes out, and then we'll look back at it and see if it's worth playing, sort of thing. Once we've seen like some independent journalists play it and see what they think of it.
Yeah.
Because obviously we don't know much about the development team, and we don't know much about the state of the Aliens publishing license at this point, given their last foray into video games went very poorly.
Yeah. Okay.
On to our next trailer. We've got a trailer for a game called The Eternal Cylinder, Tony.
I've never seen this before.
So I was going to talk about this and say, oh my god, this trailer looks amazing. It's Spore 2. It's a new game from the Xenoclash and Rock of Asia developers, Ace Team, who we're big fans of.
We love them.
And they were like, hey, they're making a game that looks like Spore 2. This looks amazing.
Yeah, it does look like Spore 2.
So this will be an Epic Games Store exclusive. So obviously, if you're not an Epic guy, then you won't be able to play this for a year probably. And I was going to say the beta is out now, and the thing is, I applied to the beta and I got access, and we've played through this entire demo from the beta. So the basic concept is you're an alien, you've just been born, and there is a eternal cylinder coming to crush everything. So you have to escape from the eternal cylinder by sucking up various different food and items and evolving yourself so you can get through obstacles to avoid the eternal cylinder coming for you.
Yeah, and actually, and unlike Sport, like you can upgrade, get a unique ability, like to replace like your nose or your head or your body or your skin,
yeah,
or your legs.
Next weekend, the next spotlight will be the Eternal Cylinder, and I think the spotlight is an hour long. I was not prepared for how fucking long the demo was going to be. I was like, oh my god, how much of the game is left? We play it for like an hour.
Because you play for an hour and you're like, oh, let's just try and play it again. And I feel like I searched for like how far we're through, like, and someone else's playthrough. Like, oh god, we're only halfway through.
So
you have to split it up.
Yep. So the spotlight will come out on Sunday, and that will be an hour. I'm sorry it's so long, but if you like the look of it, maybe you can watch it for like 15 minutes, and then you can go, oh, I like the look of this. Then maybe you will put it on your Epic Games Store wish list, and then see if you're interested after that. Or maybe you want to watch the whole thing. If you're like, oh, you just stopped after an hour, you didn't see the full beta. The day after the spotlight comes out, I hit record on the second part where I'm just playing through the rest of the demo. So if you want to see the entire beta and see everything that the Eternal Cylinder has to offer from our perspective from the beta, then definitely check that out, because it's a very interesting game. I very much enjoy it. It
looks great.
It looks amazing. It's very like,
I love the narrator.
It's very like futuristic and what's the word? Very strange game, I will say. So
yeah, very alien.
I like weird stuff. So yeah, definitely check that out.
Alien artsy Spore game.
Yeah, I was like, when I saw the trailer first, I was like, they designed a game for me. It's Spore 2 as an artsy platformer. You'd love to see it.
Yeah.
Okay. Huge announcement from Quick News. Artifact has gone free to play. Finally, after pissing about for so long, Valve were like, we're gonna update, we're gonna do Artifact 2.0. We're gonna fully redesign the game. They gave up.
They did an Anthem and was it Battleborn? Like they just said, oh, we're gonna have this evolve. I guess we're gonna have this big update. Oh no, we're not.
Nah, JK, we're giving up.
JK.
So they're not going to work on it anymore. The Artifact 2.0 beta is cancelled. I assume they just... I mean, they had when it went free to play, they had a like an 80% player spike, but the 80% player spike was going from like 30 players to like 30 players to 100 or something like that. So it's like it's like even the game going free to play, I don't think it's going to save it, because it's just
a weird game.
It was just so mismanaged, the game. Nobody really understood. They completely fucked up the monetization on the game. They were trying to double dip on having you buy the game, and then he wanted you to buy cards, and they were being super greedy with it, and it was just went into development hell. And and it was, nobody gives a shit about the Dota IP. Like, outside of the Dota 2 game, like, no one's playing Underlords either.
Yeah, that's true. Do you find it interesting though? There's like they released, obviously it's like quite a bit before, but they released this game full of microtransactions to make tons of money. Didn't work. Made a normal good Half-Life VR game and made tons of money with a normal good game. Like, I find that interesting.
Well, the funny thing is that I've said this before, and lots of people have said this before, but you have to take Valve with a grain of salt these days, because they released Artifact in its current state thinking it was going to be incredibly popular, and they announced Half-Life Alyx VR thinking it wasn't going to be a big deal and people weren't really going to care about it. Like, that's what the people at Valve, they're kind of in like their own bubble at Valve now, because they're kind of disconnected.
They're not used to making games.
The gaming industry, because they don't make games. Like Half-Life Alyx was a triumph. Thank God Half-Life Alyx came out.
It's really good.
It's fucking. I literally played Half-Life Alyx 2 days ago, because I was like,
really.
I every time I go on VR, I'm like, right, let's get a benchmark. Let's load up some workshop maps on Half-Life Alyx and play some good VR. Like, it's so good. Yeah. I'm always, it's like I should play these new VR games I have, or I could play Half-Life Alyx again. It's like, because there's the workshops, I can just play infinite content on the workshop sort of thing.
Do you play through the campaign again?
No, I play on the workshop maps.
Right. Okay.
So people make custom maps that you play through. And there's mapping competitions. Like, one of my favorite things about Half-Life 2 is Map Labs. And Map Labs has started doing competitions for Half-Life Alyx. So I was playing through some maps recently where people were remaking some of their Half-Life 2 Map Lab competition entries, but remaking them in Half-Life Alyx and seeing how they would work in VR. And that was pretty interesting to play through.
Oh, can we get that one where it's 2D platform with fire and water?
Oh, not VR, that. No, not that one. Fuck that one.
That's what I want to see.
No, but I was starting up VR because I've been playing through Gorn recently, and Gorn is very fun. It's weird. I want to compare it to Doom Eternal. That's probably the best comparison for me, in a weird way.
In the way you're like how brutal you are towards the enemies, right?
Not just that, but how brutal the game is. Where at first it feels unfair, because as soon as you get hit, as soon as you get hit, you start to pass out. So you die in one hit in that game. But the thing is, it's like once you learn that it's kind of like berserking mode, where if you kill someone after you get hit, then you get taken out of the knocked out state. So you have if you ever want to go into primal mode and just screaming and ripping people's heads off in my room in VR, that is what Gorn is all about. So.
I imagine a sketch the thing of if you watch someone in VR, it's really funny. I imagine that's probably one of the fun. You just walk being a gorilla.
I think I have a recording of me playing Budget Cuts where I'm just crawling on the floor like it's a vent, and I gotta imagine Budget Cuts very funny to watch someone playing VR. Gorn's very funny, just see someone screaming and ripping people's heads off and stuff. So
it'd be funny with no context. That's what you need.
Speaking of Half-Life 2 mods, Lambda Wars came out fully 1.0 release on Steam. Even had a 1.1 release recently in the past couple of weeks as well. So if you don't know what Lambda Wars is, it's a really old Half-Life 2 mod that basically uses the Source engine to turn the Half-Life 2 games into an RTS game. I don't know if you've ever seen this or heard about this.
No, I've not seen it, but this was 13 years of development? 2014?
Did you say 13 years? I'm gonna check your math there.
Sorry, yeah, 7 years.
7 years.
2014.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I had
yeah,
an extra one.
yeah.
So
There's
what did I do? Wait, I don't know what I did.
You doubled it. Anyway.
I don't know what. Sure.
But anyway, this is really fucking cool. I bring this up. Did you know that originally, according to like sources inside Valve, apparently, if you don't know, Gabe Newell was a massive Nintendo fan. He loves Nintendo.
Oh,
he's
really?
he's always talking about playing. He has so much respect for Nintendo, and he's always saying how he wants to play the next Nintendo game so he can learn more about game development. And apparently, for the Switch, they wanted to make a Half-Life game to put on the Nintendo console on the Switch, and it was going to be a Half-Life RTS game, but it went into development hell and it never got made. But yeah, if you want to know what a Half-Life RTS game would be like, you can play Lambda Wars, the mod. Another cool thing that I think about this is it's actually it's the Source engine, but it's not running on Half-Life 2. It's actually running on the Alien Swarm engine, which is a very old game that a lot of people have forgotten about, which makes complete sense when you think about the perspective of Alien Swarm, where it's more of a top-down perspective, and it starts to make a lot more sense why they would use the Alien Swarm engine as a basis rather than the first-person Half-Life engine. Okay, quick news. For Honor is getting a Shovel Knight crossover. The only reason I bring this up is because I don't give a shit about For Honor. I think it's kind of a... I don't think it's doing too well on the player numbers, I should say. But I've said in the past, I think Shovel Knight is the ultimate indie crossover king, where he crosses over into so many games that it's unreal. That if you ever play an indie game, there's probably a Shovel Knight character in it at some point. Obviously, For Honor's not an indie game, but it's another crossover for him. And I wrote this down just for this trailer, but literally as I was writing this down, it was then announced that Shovel Knight was doing a crossover with the American restaurant Arby's. Yep.
Okay.
So Shovel Knight launcher tokens are now available at Arby's kids meals that participate in locations for a limited time. So they will give you Shovel Knight Treasure Trove DLC cheat code for a Switch and Steam. So you can collect all 7 of those. So yeah, this is a weird crossover, but again, Shovel Knight, crossover king, showing his what's the word? Prowess there again.
Yeah. Why is he so easy to put, or why is he so iconic, I guess?
I think if you ask people like for iconic indie game characters, they would say Shovel Knight.
Yeah.
You would talk about like iconic indie games like Limbo, Braid, probably I think actually
Time?
Ukulele might be one of the most like recognizable indie games as well.
Right, okay.
Because of the bright colors and stuff like that.
Yeah, I guess.
What are you going to
say?
Would
they be able to name the character though?
Yuka and Lele. It's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, I know it's self-explanatory, but I wonder if people would actually know. That's what it's referring to.
Okay. Firewatch was released like 5 years ago now, and it got a Switch port. But what people didn't know was when the Switch port was released in 2018, it actually has a Switch exclusive Easter egg in it that not many people know about, and has only been brought back up recently as people have kind of seen it. But if you play through the game, I have played Firewatch recently as well, so we'll talk about Tangerine. You can play Firewatch in free roam mode, which then allows you to spot a post-it note that has a mysterious 1964 marker on the map, obviously a reference to the Nintendo 64, which will then take you to a cache box, which will then take you to like a cartridge sort of thing from the Nintendo 64. and then you take that to a statue of the ranger, the statue of the ranger, obviously from the game, of the park, and then that sends you into like a old school Nintendo 64 game minigame Easter egg, which is pretty fucking awesome.
Oh, right, okay.
Where you have to go and collect symbols. The music to me sounds exactly like Mario 64. It's very much reminiscent of stuff like Rare's Banjo-Kazooie. I think it's called like Forest 64, but yeah. I thought that was a pretty cool Easter egg because I literally just got done playing Firewatch and then I saw this and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Like, this Easter egg exists. Kind of a shame it only exists on Switch, but I guess it's replayability for people who want to buy the Switch version, I guess. But it's, yeah.
Kind of sucks you don't have that, though, but yeah.
Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 delayed again as it switches its developers.
I'm so surprised.
I've been saying for fucking months, I think this game is in development hell, and I think it's going to be like fucking like curb your expectations on this game. Like, I think initially I was saying they were like changing writers and stuff, and you were saying like, it's not too bad, and then they started like changing some of their main directors of the game, and then I was like, well, it looks pretty bad. And yeah, so it was so initially this game was supposed to come out in 2020. It's now coming out in 2022 because it was initially delayed to 2021. It's now been delayed again to 2022, and they've switched devs from Hardsuit Labs to a new undisclosed new studio partner. I believe they're still looking for them. So Paradox is the developer. Paradox is the publisher. But the thing that makes this even weirder is Hardsuit Labs is like one of their developers. They own a 33% stake in Hardsuit Labs. So it's weird they took one of their own companies off the game to give it to another company, which means like Hardsuit Labs had to have really been fucking this up for them to go, oh shit,
lose all their top people.
Yeah, to go, oh shit, one of
Speaking of
our companies, quotation mark.
Yeah, I was gonna say that I don't know if this is on here or not. I haven't properly looked, but didn't like BioWare lose like a ton of top people recently off of Dragon Age?
I don't know about that. You'd have to send me a link.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't properly. I just saw that at some point.
Well, speaking of development hell, Dying Light 2. Again, I've been saying Dying Light 2 seems to be in development hell. Dying Light 2 dev says the game is not in development hell, but they just announced the game too early. Is that not the same thing? I mean...
Yes. Most definitely.
I don't know. Like, they showed for... I think the trailer and all the short gameplay stuff they showed for Dying Light was pretty comprehensive. Like, it seemed like it was done pretty well, but obviously if they were pushed too quickly to show off too much stuff, like obviously the breadth of, they showed off a small area of the game, and obviously they want big open world areas that change based on your decision, and that's going to take a lot of time to develop. But
yeah,
I don't know. I'm still waiting for Dead Island 2, so I wonder what will come out first, Dead Island 2 or Dying Light 2 at this point. So we'll have to see what's going to happen with that. Google reportedly paid $20 million for Ubisoft ports on Stadia.
Oh my god, that's
so much. Yeah. Before they gave up in their internal studio, they were paying Ubisoft $20 million to port their games to Stadia. Apparently, Take-Two was also paid tens of millions of dollars for porting Red Dead Redemption 2 and NBA 2K to Stadia as well. Just goes to show you that Google's willing to spend a lot of money, but not spend it where it counts on like useful stuff.
Well, they're not. Yeah, so spending money isn't like the end all and be all of stuff. Like, you need to actually know what you're doing. Like, you can't just throw money at a problem.
Okay, this one's pretty confusing for me. Dead by Daylight's next characters, they've been teasing the next killer, and the next killer is K-pop. So what? The Dead by Daylight's next chapter is set within the cutthroat K-pop industry. The next killer is going to be like a K-pop star. And I think the survivor as well is going to be involved in K-pop as well. I feel like this, to me, it doesn't really fit in the Dead by Daylight universe. I mean, they've very much stayed within like creating their own original characters inside this universe and then doing like very big franchised horror killers. But now this kind of seems a bit strange to me. Seems like they're trying to appeal to the K-pop audience, maybe. I don't know about this move. I'm very like, mostly confused, to be honest with you. It just seems a bit weird that this is what they're going with. But yeah, I'll talk more about the K-pop killer when he comes to the full game. I think he's out on the public beta environment, so people can actually test him out and see what he does. But I'll talk about it a bit more when it fully comes out. Zynga Farmville has acquired Extra Games Torchlight to help bring existing mobile franchises to console and PC. So the Farmville guys have acquired Torchlight to help them bring games like Farmville, I guess, to PC and consoles. It'd be interesting to see like how that works out. It's a bit of a strange acquisition for me, because obviously they've done like Zynga Poker, Farmville, Farmville 2, Words with Friends. Is that why I keep getting Twitch Prime shit popping up saying you've got like get a loot box in Words with your friends or something? Like, I don't understand any of these mobile games, like how they work at all. But yeah, that'd be interesting how that turns out. Teardown now has Steam Workshop support. I think this is huge for this game. This game looks really fun. I'm very interested to get this when it goes on a decent sale, and definitely really want to play this. It looks really cool, and I think one of the main criticism was that people felt like they had to speedrun a lot of levels rather than felt like they could meticulously plan out like a very intricate way to steal things. They had to be like keep speedrunning a level over and over again in order to complete it.
Right. So like doesn't you don't get any benefits for like doing it efficiently or?
Yeah, well, I think people were saying like it felt like even if you did all this intricate planning, it just came down to just running it backwards and backwards until you could like shave a second off by taking a corner slightly quicker or something like that. But I'd say the thing with the workshop support, this will like when you allow people to create custom maps, they can set the pace of the levels, and you'll be able to find a level that fits your playstyle. Which is pretty cool. And obviously, I think one of the big things with this game now is it had limited content because you could only play the amount of maps that were included with the game. But now there's unlimited content with workshop support. Workshop support is just so valuable. If you make a game, try and get workshop support in there because it allows your player base to create content for you. It is so valuable.
Yeah, you obviously have to work on like some sort of map creator or something, but I think it's well worth the effort.
Yep. EA has delayed the next Need for Speed, and they have shifted Criterion to work on Battlefield 6. So this actually kind of makes sense if you don't know. Criterion actually has already helped on making Battlefront 2 and Battlefield 5. So it's not like they were only working on car games and then suddenly they're working on FPS games and they're like, what the hell's going on? How do we do this? They've already had some skin in the game and they have already, have some experience. It seems like EA likes to just take their studios and then just have them help out the other studios when they push a release of one specific game.
I get the impression, I might be wrong here, but I get the impression with EA devs or dev teams that they're kind of like super fluid and like it's kind of just all over the place.
Well, that's what it. Well, I don't know what it's like in it, but I know at Valve it's very much like as soon as the Valve has a game, so like for Half-Life Alyx, they would just anyone who's working on another project, they would be moved over to Half-Life Alyx to push that release out, sort of thing, because they have a very level business model where they don't have a hierarchy of higher ups.
I think EA is like a weird one where like they like say they like buy your studio and eventually your Peter Molyneux scapegoat at the top that prevents him from being eaten up by EA disappears. Suddenly it becomes like a all weird amalgamation of devs.
Because speaking of Firewatch, as we were earlier, Campo Santo Games now exists in Valve, and they were making In the Valley of the Gods, but I think they were moved to work on Half-Life Alyx as soon as that was getting pushed, and now I think In the Valley of the Gods might be soft cancelled. We haven't heard anything about In the Valley of the Gods for a long time, and I was thinking potentially they could have moved it to be a VR project, given that they've spent so much time working on VR now, and it'd make a lot of sense. That sort of game, like a walking simulator sort of game, would make a lot of sense in VR.
Yeah.
But we'll have to see.
Sense.
DICE Sweden, DICE LA, and now Criterion will all be working on Battlefield 6 as well. There was also the recent Codemaster acquisition, so my speculation is now that that Codemasters will be put in charge of the next Need for Speed game, as they've done such good work on stuff like Dirt and stuff like that, so we'll have to see how that turns out. The Zenimax merger has been approved in the EU and the US, and we had the official announcement that Bethesda is now, and Zenimax, I guess, is part of Team Xbox. Bethesda is an official Microsoft Studios development team now. And with this announcement, they have now released 20 Bethesda games straight onto the Xbox Game Pass, which is huge.
Yeah.
And there was a rumor recently as well that, you know how we were saying before they were going to merge Xbox Game Pass and Origin Access into one pass? And then it got delayed and there was no ETA on when it was coming back. Apparently, that's going to be coming back soon, with like 75 EA games are going to be available on Game Pass. So it's going to be all the Bethesda games, all of Microsoft games, and all of EA games soon as well on one pass on Xbox Game Pass. Xbox Game Pass is looking to be like one of the best subscription services possible in the world. Like, I think this is very, very good. I would highly recommend getting this sort of
thing. It does help when Microsoft's eating up lots of developers and becoming like a monopoly in that regard. Well, not it won't be a monopoly, but like they're going to be very big. But the vertical integration is quite massive.
Well, we have seen some stuff like, I think it was Double Fine said they didn't like being under Microsoft. They felt like they didn't have as much freedom. I think like the Gang Beasts people said that they preferred when they got out from under Microsoft and they were able to do more updates for that game. They much preferred that.
Yeah.
So obviously it's not like black and white. You know, I think that I think Microsoft is probably better to be under Microsoft than it is Zenimax, given some of the things I've heard about Zenimax.
Yeah, Zenimax seems like a piece of shit from what I've heard, but
but obviously we don't know the full extent of what this means for Bethesda, what this means for Zenimax. I believe that they want to keep Bethesda as their own company, where they have full control over what they do and make.
Yeah.
But whether they will still be under the management of Zenimax under Microsoft, we don't fully know yet.
I'm looking forward to Master Chief in ESO as a skin, though.
Oh, interesting to point out, the Microsoft Game Pass version of Skyrim Special Edition and Fallout 4 actually have full access to mods, which is pretty big because usually most Game Pass games don't allow modding. And I think specifically for those games, Fallout and Skyrim, those games are kind of different games when you mod them. So, like without modding, they're kind of, complete different games sort of thing. So
kind of meh or okay at best.
So that's pretty big news. If you haven't played Skyrim or Fallout 4 and you're like, oh, I want to mod those, maybe now's the time to subscribe to Game Pass and try those out. Microsoft has confirmed that some future Bethesda games will be exclusive to Xbox and PC. So Microsoft is still going for their double dip, where they're going to make... this is sad for console players and kind of whatever for PC players.
Though?
Yeah.
Very expected, though.
Because it seems like Microsoft has been realizing they can double dip, where they don't have to make them just Xbox exclusive and they can also release them on PC. And it seems like Sony's coming to this realization as well, and we'll talk about that later in the show, about they're starting to bring some PlayStation exclusives to PC as well. Xbox wants to bring the Doom and Wolfenstein engine to more of its developers, so it seems like we might. The big cool thing about this is maybe we'll see some more Microsoft studios being able to use the amazing id Tech engine.
What if they make it like an Unreal or
so people
Unity?
are saying
That'd be really good.
If they could license out the id Tech engine to other developers as like a third-party engine, that'd be pretty cool to see.
That'd be amazing.
I would love to see more games on the id Tech engine because it is such a well-optimized engine. Like that's going to be awesome to see like other developers using that.
Yeah.
Let's have a look at Microsoft's game studios and see Minecraft on the id engine. That's what I want to see.
Minecraft, yeah, that's the crossover we need.
I'm just trying to think which Microsoft game would be like if it was on the id engine, it would be sick. Microsoft Flight Simulator, Halo on the. Oh my god, that's actually a pretty good one. Like the Halo Infinite on id Tech. Yeah. Obviously, it's too far in development. There's no way, but that'd be interesting.
It depends how badly broken it is right now. But yeah, I feel like there's not worth switching engine.
They did show some like update screenshots recently after the criticism from the gameplay trailer. People saying it looked very flat and there wasn't like very good lighting. It does look a lot better than what it did. So that is cool.
I'm gonna be honest. I didn't actually have much problem with like the raw state it was in. I'm gonna be honest.
Right.
I think it's just people. I think it's because I kind of understand people's reaction to it because like. You expect to see like a really polished, like they spent loads of time to put it to the public, and then the actual version is less than what you see. I'm suspecting it's the other way around in this case for Infinity. Is it called Infinity?
Infinite.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Let's.
I don't know. I'm waiting for final judgment until the actual game. So.
Oh, and Xbox consoles can now stream games on GeForce Now thanks to the fact that the Edge browser is now available on the Xbox Series X and S. So you can now load up Edge on your Xbox Series X and then use GeForce Now through the browser, which is pretty cool.
Isn't the Series S the best one? Because like you can for a cheap amount of money you can emulate. You can play Xbox One games, and now you can GeForce Now.
Yeah, but GeForce Now is streaming from a PC anyway, sort of thing.
Yeah, I'm saying, isn't the Series S going to be the better value for money there?
Than the X?
Yes.
It
depends. Like half the price, right?
It depends what you want to do with it, yeah, for sure.
Because like, everyone's like saying, the Xbox Series S is actually really good for emulation because just the price to what you can do with it.
Yeah. I mean, if MSRP for some of the newer graphics cards coming out was actually competitive... Like if in a fictional world where graphic cards existed and they've released for the MSRP,
Xbox is
I would say that some of the new graphics cards coming out are actually pretty good if you want to build a powerful, cheap gaming PC. But obviously, that's not possible right now. So
what's the MSRP of the Series? I'll see what the MSRP of the Series S
Well, we'll talk about the RX 7000 later in the show as well because that's one of the new lower end cards from AMD.
It's £250 for a Series S.
Diablo 2 Resurrected will let you import your original Diablo 2 save files, so it seems like they are kind of... I don't know if they've done like the Reforged system where they've backdated it to a point... Well, okay, let me think about this. Because you can play Diablo 2 original game files on the new game, and it's kind of 3D layered on top of 2D, so I'm wondering if it's still running the original Diablo 2 in some way with some stuff layered on top of it, because Reforged was essentially Warcraft 3, and then if you don't know, the Warcraft 3 engine was turned into World of Warcraft, and then they backported World of Warcraft all the way back to Warcraft 3 with the added features of World of Warcraft.
Right, okay.
So it'll be interesting to see.
It's a bit confusing, but okay.
Interesting how they do Diablo 2. Rumor, we've got a big... This is a rumor, unconfirmed. Apparently there's going to be I've seen so much like inside sources about a new Switch coming out because the Switch is coming to like the end of its lifespan soon. And they're stopped making the chip that the Switch is made on. Like,
oh really?
They're not. Yeah, like Nvidia's stopping making that chip. So obviously they're gonna need to come out with something soon. I think it's called the Tegra chip, maybe. I watched the Digital
Sounds
Foundry
right,
video on
yeah.
it, where there's a great new Digital Foundry podcast where they started talking about like some of the big tech gaming news. So according to leaked stats, the Switch Pro will have a 7-inch 720p OLED screen. So the original Switch has, I think, a 6.2, so it's a slight increase in screen size. 720p again, which I think people at first were like, what, 720p again? That's insane. But the thing is, at that size, 7 inches, 720p is going to be fine for that size of a screen. And obviously, you're also getting the OLED bump. And I think it's going to be rigid OLED, where, I don't know if I talked about this before, but flexible OLED is still quite expensive because they use it on all of the new phones. So it's still quite expensive there. But rigid OLED is quite cheap. So they can put the rigid OLED on the Switch quite cost efficiently. And apparently you'll be able to do 4K in docked mode. So that'll be pretty interesting to see. Tony, are you there? He's muted. Okay, I'll keep talking. So 4K docked mode, and even an announcement that exclusive games might be coming to the new Switch Pros. It's an unconfirmed name, but I think Switch Pro makes the most sense. Switch U, maybe, like the Wii U. So if it comes with exclusive games, you'll have to be paying that Nintendo tax, although it may be the only one capable of running the games, given how old the original Switch is now. Like, some games even struggle to run at their full 720p resolution target on the handheld mode, so we'll have to see there. But yeah, this would be pretty, because the 4K thing is pretty interesting, because this would alert to me that they might be doing some sort of AI upscaling. We know that the Nvidia Shield, which the Switch is based on, has some sort of rudimentary photo upscale or video upscaling, where I believe it can upscale videos to look like they're in 4K. So if they could do this, use this, because the Switch consoles are based on Nvidia chips, and then the Xbox and the PlayStation are based on AMD chips. So we'll have to see how this pans out. Obviously, we're waiting for an announcement from Nintendo, but we'll have to see.
I was going to say, the comparison I would make is, I don't know. Again, I guess this is all rumors. I'm just like over speculating even more here. But like, aren't like laptops, for example, like you can like get far more juice when it's plugged into the wall than when it's on the go. So when it's just like super power intensive after that.
On Digital Foundry, they said it could be possible that there would be another SoC chip inside the dock that would then give it more juice when it was plugged in. But that just
like an external graphics sort of situation.
Yeah, like a very like small form, like portable sort of SoC chip on it. But that doesn't seem that feasible. Obviously, this is pure speculation and everything's up in the air. But
because then the dock would be really expensive if you did that, right?
Yeah, it makes sense that they're not moving on to like a new chip, because basically, if they were move up the stack to another chip, it would be to another chip that's impossible to get right now.
Yeah.
So they'd run into like another issue with manufacturing.
I don't know if we know like all of the TSMC like fabs though. I don't know if they've allocated slots for
it. We know that they're going to be working with Samsung.
Oh, okay, Samsung. Okay.
Well, they're rumored to be working with Samsung, because apparently Samsung's making a big push to work with people like Nvidia and stuff.
Yeah,
and Samsung are going
compete
to start
with TSMC.
Samsung are going to start making the OLED displays for the new Switch as well. So let's see how that turns out. Let's move on. But this is quick news. We've got to speed it up. Board games. Stardew Valley is getting a board game. It'll be interesting to see how that turns out. I still want to see how the Slay the Spire one turns out. It's always interesting when a video game becomes a board game. And of course, Tony, there's a Skyrim adventure board game on the way.
Yes.
So we're all waiting for the Skyrim board game to come out.
I'm looking forward to that one, yeah.
Valve has announced the latest version of SteamVR 1.16.8 now has full OpenXR support. So this is an API for VR and AR that allows that allows game engines to write code that is compatible across multiple hardware platforms. So this is Valve supporting basically an open platform that's going to allow massive compatibilities in SteamVR, no matter what headset you're using, basically. So this is a big win for people making their own VR headsets, or say you wanted to plug a Pimax into SteamVR or an Oculus Quest into SteamVR. This stuff will make it a lot easier for you and developers to use third-party headsets in SteamVR in an open source platform, which is pretty cool to see.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Oculus has partnered with Virtue Clear for Quest 2 prescription lens inserts. I remember talking to my friend, and he was saying, like, do you wear glasses in VR, or should I get lenses? I honestly never thought about people who have to wear glasses when it comes to VR, because I've only used them myself. But obviously, if you're near side or long side, then you might have issues with wearing a VR headset, and whether you need like a glasses spacer or you want to get lenses that actually are the same prescription as your glasses to help you see through them. But it seems like I think there was some very popular Oculus Quest third-party ones, but it seems like they are now partnering with Virtue Clear in order to get these to be officially made for the Quest, which is pretty cool to see. Because then, if you're confused as to where to get these sort of things, you'll have a official place to go. If you are visually impaired, are people who wear glasses visually impaired? Do they count?
I think so.
I don't know.
I think that counts.
Everyone is impaired. We just had the Oculus Quest 2 90Hz update, and apparently there was going to be a software update that allowed you to go up to 120Hz on the Oculus Quest 2, was on the roadmap for the Oculus Quest 2's development, but this has been delayed to Q2 of 2021 at the earliest. So we won't be seeing much about this until later in the year, I believe. We got a teaser trailer for Doom Eternal: The Ancient Gods Part 2. It has been leaked. This will release on March 18th, which is Thursday next week. We got, a screenshot officially from Bethesda and id, and I believe they might be doing an announcement for this. So Doom Eternal came out on March 20th, 2020, and Doom Eternal: The Ancient Gods was part of the Year 1 part of the Year 1 Season Pass. So in order to make it into the Year 1 Season Pass, they have to release Doom Eternal: The Ancient Gods Part 2 before March 20th. So releasing it on March 18th just squeezes it into the Year 1 Season Pass.
18th of March yeah. What? But hang on. But didn't they add the why? Haven't they created their own timescale? That like surely they could.
Yes, but
just add it.
So they created this timescale, and this has been delayed because obviously COVID played a massive factor in this. So they thought they could get the Ancient Gods out a lot earlier than they could, because when Doom Eternal came out in March, that was like near the start of the pandemic, so it wasn't as bad back then. But then obviously because of COVID and working from home, it's been massively delayed. But from what we've seen, the game looks really cool. We've got like the images of like a overgrown Earth going back there and stuff like that. I don't want to go too in depth in this because obviously there's story spoilers if you care about story spoilers.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil it for Dave, really.
I talked about playing Doom Eternal on the Games of the Year 2020, and I felt like I did it dirty because I'd only played like half the game, and I didn't go into how fucking sweet Doom Eternal is. Like, oh my god,
I don't know. You talked about it for a little bit, right?
Yeah, but I feel like I didn't go into in depth of why it makes it so cool. You play Doom Eternal, and you go, this it kicks your ass. It is fucking hard, and it kicks you into the dirt. You have like 8 different weapons. You have dashes. You have swords. You have 2 different grenades. You have a flamethrower. You have an ice bomb. You know, you have so many buttons and so much control of your character, but then suddenly, after dying that many times, something clicks and it starts to make sense, and you have so much skill expression of your character and so much freedom of movement, and it just once you get it clicks. It just feels so good, and you play through it, and you get to the end, you're like, that was fucking awesome, and you're like, oh man, Doom 2016 was like this. And if you go back and look at Doom 2016 or play through Doom 2016, you'll be like, Doom 2016 was so slow and grey, and like it just like Doom Eternal was like a complete, in a way, it's a completely different game to Doom 2016.
Yeah.
Like it takes everything Doom 2016 did well and just turns it up to 11, and it just like amplifies it 10 times. And I don't know, Doom Eternal is a sick game, and like the great thing about like there's way more demons, and every demon is designed in a way that is countered by a specific weapon, and it's countered by a specific playstyle. It's countered, and it teaches you. In Doom 2016, they try and get you to use different weapons, but in Doom Eternal, it gives you specific enemies to use specific weapons, and it like teaches you this weapon's for this enemy, this weapon's for this.
And it's not like, even in a dumb simple way. It's like, oh, it just does more damage. Like no, like it's just dependent on like how it moves and how it attacks you.
And you get to a point where you're like you play through like Doom 2016, it's like it's pretty hard. You play through Doom Eternal, you're like, fuck, that was way harder than Doom Eternal, that's pretty hard. And then you play through Doom Eternal The Ancient Gods Part 1, you're like, it just goes through the roof in difficulty terms, but like once you complete it, you're just like, yeah, that Doom 2016 game was pretty easy. Like I'm a hardcore gamer now. I beat Doom Eternal Part 1, so I'm interested to see whether Doom Eternal Part 2 will be very hard. Or so apparently, because Hugo Martin, one of the lead developers on Doom Eternal, has been doing lots and lots of live streams and during the lockdown talking about the updates that are going to come with the release of Ancient Gods Part 2. So there will be a new crosshair mini HUD. So there'll be a little HUD that's close to your crosshair to help you see more information, and this will contain stuff like information about your blood punches, how many grenades you have, stuff like that. And he said basically after playing with this turned on, he wouldn't ever want to go back to using not the mini HUD sort of thing. So
oh really?
So they said they're going to allow you to customize the delay of the selection wheel to make weapon quick switch even faster. So when you open the quick switch wheel, it slows down time. You can quickly have a wheel and select which weapon you want. But you'll be able to decide how fast you want to be able to change weapons on that on PC and console now with the next update, which is pretty cool. There's a bug fix for Blood Punch. Blood Punch was bugged in a way where sometimes you would punch and it just wouldn't register. I had this happen to me a couple of times. It was kind of frustrating. They're also going to be changing the last Slayer gate on the Ancient Gods Part 1 to make it slightly easier. So they released the Ancient Gods with 3 Slayer gates. I said the game's insanely hard. I played through one of the Slayer gates and I beat it, but holy shit, are the Slayer gates hard on that game. And the third one, they initially released it and it was very easy to a lot of people, so they were like, okay, we got to fix this. They re-released it, it became impossible, and then people were like, this is way too fucking hard. And so it seems like they're going to be tweaking it and then finding a middle ground between challenge and ease of playthrough.
I guess fun as well at some extent.
And they said they want to tweak the pacing of the Part 1 DLC so that the pacing is better. I don't know if that means they're going to like try and curve out the difficulty a bit better, because I think level 1's pretty good. Like it starts kind of slow, but the difficulty just like spikes in the middle and then it just doesn't stop from there. Like I think that's what a lot of people really didn't like about the DLC so far, was it was just way harder than the rest of the game. But after playing through it, I can say I am a true gamer now. I'm a true hardcore gamer. I've beat Doom Eternal, The Ancient Gods Part 1, and I'm looking forward to this release of Part 2. Looks like I'm going back into the trenches, Tony. I'm going to have to go back on Doom Eternal and beat Part 2. So
are those trenches, or are they more like craters?
At the time of playing, they feel like craters, but then you look back and then you're like, oh, that was fun. But at the time, you're screaming and raging, and then you look back on it and you go, oh, I was having
It's
fun.
like
there.
yeah, like they're crazy at the time. Now when you go back and look at it, it's now a beautiful field.
Yeah, we won the war.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's move on because we got more stuff to talk about and I'm stalling. Nvidia DLSS patch is now available for Crysis Remastered on PC.
It's always good to see.
DLSS gives a nice bump in performance on This is based on Digital Foundry's video on the update. So this is what I'll be referencing. Check out Digital Foundry's video if you want to know more. It gives a good bump in performance on GPU-bound areas, part of the game. But the game still has issues with CPU-bound areas, as CPU utilization, although improved from launch, isn't perfect. And also there is some nice bug fixes that have been added with this as well. So I think
what makes them nice? Just
they fixed the bugs. Yes.
Right.
That's why they're nice. Okay. Well, sometimes they put through bug fixes and then they don't fully fix the bugs, or they introduce more bugs. But it seems like the bug fixes.
That sounds like a Bethesda bug fix.
Yeah. Nvidia has won a crypto mining related lawsuit over its investors. So you may be thinking, oh, they're suing them from the crypto boom in 2020. No. So in 2018, the investors have filed a lawsuit against Nvidia. So in 2017, Nvidia made a lot of extra profit due to the crypto market boom back then. People with money saw the boom and invested. Nvidia said that the crypto boom tapering off would not hurt their business. Then the boom tapered off, and then Nvidia still made a lot more money, but it was not quite as good as some were expecting. So the people who invested during the boom were like, hey, we didn't make as much money as we thought, because sales were returning to normal. And so the investors drummed up a lawsuit with their perceived lost earnings back, claiming Nvidia misled them with their projected extra income. Nvidia then comes back and says, well, we still made a lot of money. I mean, the crash didn't give you as much money as you made, but you still did make profit. And the judge has recently thrown out the case. So that's what happened.
After all of that, it just gets thrown out.
Yeah, that's main news. So Sony says more PS5 games are coming to PC, and PSVR 2 is basically all but confirmed. We've basically got this huge article about PlayStation's Jim Ryan talking about a completely new VR platform for PS5. All but confirmed there will be a new PSVR for the PlayStation 5. More PSVR games coming to Steam. Let's hope for Ratchet and Clank. Days Gone is coming to Steam this spring. Yep. So if you remember, it was the PlayStation exclusive motorbike versus zombies game.
Right to Retribution zombie game, yeah.
The interesting thing about this is I believe it's in Unreal Engine 4, so it's going to be way easier to port than Horizon Zero Dawn. Horizon Zero Dawn was in the Guerrilla engine, which was not designed for PC at all, and was kind of a nightmare to move over. So
it's good that Horizon Zero Dawn is all fixed and patched up now, but
yeah, I saw a Digital Foundry video recently where they said it's in a pretty good state now.
There's a few bugs, I think.
Yeah.
But...
So the PC version of Days Gone will include features such as ultra-wide monitor support, unlocked frame rates, improved graphics, increased level of details, field of view, and foliage draw distance. And we have the PC requirements, which are similar to Horizon Zero Dawn, which actually the Horizon Zero Dawn port itself was actually outsourced. I don't know if you know that. It wasn't even done by Guerrilla, and then Guerrilla had to come in and fix the outsourced port, which is why it had so many issues.
I would point out that I'm speculating here, but I'm gonna guess when they say they outsourced it, they probably were still heavily involved in making sure that it was getting ported properly. Like, I'm assuming
obviously not, because it came out in the state it did.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But I would still say that they would be in some sort of contact with them. So yeah, I think rather than fix all the other bugs.
So it seems like recommended graphics cards 1060. That's pretty standard for like a game like this. Like the 1060 is the 1080p king for games these days, and then minimum 780, an i5.
It's funny how that always pops up though, isn't it?
Right. PSVR 2. So this is speculation. So this is speculation mixed with some of the stuff that Jim Ryan said in his interview. Oh, I'm skipping. So a single cord solution. So it's probably going to be USB Type-C, which will allow lots of power and display resolution. Although I believe the USB Type-C cable is quite limited on how long you can have the cord, where it starts to go bad.
At some point.
It gets expensive and it's not as
because you have
reliable.
To make sure the signal doesn't degenerate.
Yep. So I didn't know this. Apparently, PSVR had a breakout box, so you could display it on your TV, similar to display mirroring on SteamVR. So you could get this external breakout box that would allow you to mirror it, and it also gave you better audio when you use the breakout box for the original PSVR and PS4.
I mean, when I was at a friend's house with PSVR, like I was watching him play. Like he was playing and I was watching on the screen. I didn't realize that was with breakout box.
Yeah, so the question is there going to be another external device like the breakout box in the PSVR to help with audio and display mirroring, or will the PS5 be powerful enough to do it without having to have this external breakout box? Will the FOV be higher than the PlayStation VR 1? The FOV of the PSVR 1 was actually really good. Like the resolution was pretty bad, obviously, on the PSVR 1, but
very blurry.
The FOV was really good. Like 110 FOV was not bad at all. So the high resolution PSVR was 960 times 1080, which if you compare it to PC VR headsets, that's the same as my Oculus Dev Kit 2 from like fucking, when did that come out? Like 2016 or something like that.
I will say someone has used
2014.
briefly the PSVR. The resolution was not great. It was, but the FOV was actually really good. Actually, I didn't get any
2014. Like it has. It's I mean, when we have headsets like the Quest 2 and the G2 Reverb and stuff that are pushing 4K, I mean, that's when you're like,
and you do. And once it's that close to your eyes, you do kind of need it. In my opinion, anyway. I have not tried the ones up from PSVR, but I would assume you need the
worth pointing out, PSVR 1 did upscale the image if you unplugged it into PSVR Pro, which did give you a slightly better upscaled image, but obviously you still have the resolution limit of the headset itself. And they are confirmed working on a new controller based on other controllers. So they're not going to go. I think people are glad they're kind of scrapping the Move controller, and it looks like they might go with a more like Oculus style controller sort of thing. Which is pretty interesting.
Did there be like more hand grabbing sort of stuff, or do you think there will be more?
It's going to be bananas, Tony, and you'll understand what I'm saying when I finish talking about this PSVR. We had a PSVR game spotlight. So the big announcement trailer was Doom 3 VR is coming to PSVR. This is the first official release of PlayStation. The first official release of Doom 3 VR. If you don't know, there's a huge history of Doom 3 and VR. Doom 3 VR was the original tech demo John Carmack set up before joining Oculus back in 2016, and was supposed to launch. Doom 3 VR was supposed to launch with the BFG edition of Doom 3, but it just never got around to it. And obviously there was the huge lawsuits of like John Carmack leaving id and Zenimax and joining Oculus and Facebook and stuff like that we talked about. But now John Carmack's vision, like when he went to trade shows, he showed like a hacked version on the DevKit 2 running like Doom 3 VR, and it works really well. Like it's playable on PC with a mod.
Oh really? Okay.
Yeah. From what I've seen of the mod, like it works really well. It has like full teleportation. You can do locomotive movement. Like the Doom 3 VR works really well. So obviously something I'm going to want to try out once I eventually get round to buying Doom 3 BFG edition on Steam. I'll install it and try it out. And also people have made a Quest port of it as well, so you can play Doom 3 in VR on the Quest and the Quest 2 as well. which is pretty cool to see. So the PlayStation VR version of Doom 3 will include the expansions and will release on the 29th of March 2021. We got another game announcement after the fall. The creators of Arizona Sunshine, one of the most popular zombie VR games, is a co-op FPS coming to PSVR and PC. They've done a cinematic trailer, so it'll be interesting to see how this one turns out. Fract is a PSVR exclusive. It is a skiing, running, zipline, anything to make you feel sick kind of game. Basically, what I saw from the trailer was there's lots of movement, so I feel like this is a game I'm definitely not going to play because it's going to make me be horribly sick. But if you're into that weird genre of VR games where you're constantly moving around in VR but not in real life, then this might be the game for you.
I feel like that's not many people, I think.
Song in the Smoke is basically Caveman Simulator PSVR. This is coming to Oculus Quest and the Rift. It is yet to be announced for Steam VR. But basically what they showed off from the trailer and the images is basically, it looks like a very much like caveman survival game. It looks pretty fun from what I've seen. So definitely one to check out there. I Expect You to Die is now officially confirmed for PSVR as well as Steam VR. Because we already know it's coming to Steam. And I don't think they've officially announced an Oculus yet. But Oculus is a shoo-in given its success on the previous platform. Like, I Expect You to Die 1 sold really well on the Oculus Rift and Quest. So I think it's going to be an obvious platform jump there for them.
Right, yeah.
There's been a PS5 DualSense controller class action lawsuit for controller drift. I swear, every time I read about a new controller coming out, there's drift issues with the joysticks. Like,
can I? I would like to actually. I think I know a little bit more about this.
Okay.
There's a iFixit video came out a few weeks ago now that I watched.
Right.
Maybe like a month ago now. But like they all use the same modules. They're all from basically the same factory.
Mm-hmm.
And they are basically just designed like they're in their. I think I can't remember if it was their testing, iFixit testing, or like someone else's they referred to. They found that basically after something like 400 hours of gameplay, it will be damaged, and that's like the average. Like, so you could get it worse, could be better.
I think I read about this where they were saying like they all came from the same company, but there was a Japanese company that made quite good ones.
Yeah, you can mitigate because it's kind of like the same sort of design, so you can make like slightly better ones. But I think it's still like a flawed design. Still, like it's still like a limited. It's like iFixit's suggestion was instead of making it should become like a consumable because like they're gonna die at some point.
Right.
It's not an if, it's when.
So you're saying maybe they should offer replacements, like obviously
obviously replacements.
When the Switch Joy-Con controllers had their Joy-Con drift lawsuit, Nintendo started offering the ability to buy one Joy-Con instead of having to buy multiple ones. That was something.
But iFixit's suggestion was like, why don't they? Because like I don't know if you know. Like,
why don't they make replaceable joysticks?
Controller.
That's what you're saying.
Exactly. It's really hard to replace it. It's so hard to get into the internals.
But it's interesting. Like DualSense and Joy-Cons have drift issues. The Xbox is having issues at the moment with face buttons being very unresponsive, which obviously is a very bad experience. Like, feels like every time I'm reading about like new controllers, all I'm thinking is, thank God I've still got my original Xbox 360 controller. These things are like the Nokia phones of controllers. Like, they're just so useful, and I haven't replaced this controller in like 6 years, so I've never had a reason to. So just
I would like to make like a first principles thinking, like redesign the mechanisms for like some of these buttons and joysticks because like they seem to just be way too. Their lifespan is just way too small for like what it gets used for. Like we need to become like maybe like a mag. You know, like how for all you viewers that are old enough, you might remember the mouse and ball. Do you remember that? Ball mouse or ball mice?
Oh yeah, I know what you're saying.
Remember, like, they used to always fucking break. Then we got lasers, well, not lasers, but like we used lights instead, and it was so much better. They don't break. Maybe we should use magnets and optics or something for these. Like, I know it'd be more expensive, but I just don't want it to break.
When you say ball mouse, you're talking about like when they had a physical ball in the bottom of the mouse, because there also exist track balls, which is another thing that doesn't exist anymore.
They still, that's like for the actual.
That's like completely like a completely different technology that no one uses anymore. I believe like
you still buy them though.
They made like a whole in like 2014 in the League of Legends Esports League. They made a whole piece because there was one player who played like competitively on a trackball, and everyone was like, "What the fuck is he doing? Like he's playing on a bloody trackball."
Yeah. So apparently, the trackball is very good if you have repetitive strain injury in a certain way, like you don't have to move your whole hand. Apparently, it's good for that. It's not very precise at all though.
Okay. PlayStation Store will end movie, TV show purchase and rentals. I don't know a single person who has bought a movie or TV show on the PlayStation Store, so this is obviously why they're shutting it down, because I don't think it was very popular. It's like when Steam shut down their store for selling movies that nobody used. Like, you're probably confused right now as to what I'm saying, but yes, Steam did actually used to sell movies on their platform.
I remember one thing like I looked at was like the Firefly 2, basically.
Right.
What's that called?
Serenity, is it?
No. It's not anything to do with Firefly. It had like some of the same actors or a lot. Of the same
I
actors.
thought you were talking about the movie.
No. Like it has like man in the name, I think. Like it's like Connor.
Oh, Fall Man. Yeah. The one with Alan Tudyk.
Yeah.
Yes, I know what you're saying now.
That's the only one I ever even looked at on that.
Is it Con Man?
Oh, I just Con Man. Yeah.
That's what you're talking about. Anyway, Tony, Sony banana controller.
Here we are.
We've finally got the patent. So it seems like they are actually going to make a real controller, but obviously the big news was that they're exploring a system where there would be a way that you could track physical objects in the world and then use anything as a controller. So the application suggests 2 objects could be used at once, meaning you could potentially dual wield bananas. So you could put the object outside of the camera threshold, and that could also pause the game. So if you took your banana out of the camera, that would pause the game.
Is this from the patent?
Yeah.
Or is this someone made it?
This is part of their patent application. And in their official patent application, they have a banana controller in the official patent. So as reported by GamingIndustry.biz, this would allow any non-luminous passive objects, so anything that's not see-through, to be held by the user to be used as a controller. Objects would apparently be scanned with a camera, which would track objects based on pixels, contours, and colors. A game can be trained to recognize an object as a controller, or to tell users which household items could be used as a controller. So if you had a fruit bowl behind you, it said, "Oh, that's a nice looking banana you got there," and it would say that would make a great steering wheel. Obviously, I think it's more of one of those patents where we'll look at the actual controllers, where like this is what's most likely to be the next PSVR controller, and then the technology is for like being able to scan a banana and use that as a controller is more just so let's get the patent now in case somebody else wants to do it, but we'll just hold the rights in case somebody else wants to buy it from us, but we'll probably never use it. I'm guessing.
Maybe thinking like it's like I can't like the tracking. Is it an index tracking things? I can't remember what does it now.
Quest has hand tracking.
Quest has it. Yeah, but one thing like add it to like an item and like put it on like your leg, or like you put it on like a hockey stick or something. Like what was that?
Oh yeah, you're talking about the Vive tracker.
So maybe they're just like thinking of like that, but like more AI driven, like more based on like what it actually looks like. I don't know.
Yeah, that would be closer to the Quest hands tracking technology, where it uses the camera to track your hands as controllers.
Yeah, I just maybe it's a mix of those two technologies. But yeah, Controller looks interesting. It's like the actual controller looks interesting.
I did see a story recently. Apparently the Vive tracker things are super expensive because they're essentially like, I think they're essentially just like little lighthouses almost. And
that's how they're doing it.
Yeah, and I believe that there was like 3 students who are using like, who are very smart, were using like a bunch of lights to make their own third-party ones that would work with the Steam VR, which is pretty cool to see.
Yeah, that's cool.
But anyway, let's get on to the graphics card news, the theoretical news, guys. The AMD RX 6700 XT. As I talked about, the Digital Foundry podcast has coined this as medium Navi. We had big Navi, and we now have medium Navi for you 1440p gamers.
Can I just say, that's a way better name scheme than what they're actually using, because I have no fucking idea what the naming scheme is.
So I'll explain the stack to you now. So the entire upper stack, the RX 6800, 608 XT, and the 6900, these are your 12GB VRAM cards. And this one is actually going to deviate from putting the 16GB and everything, and is going to be a 12GB VRAM card. So maybe too much for the compute power, like the 3060 ran into issues where you possibly didn't need that much VRAM given how much actual compute power was actually on the card. So this is coming with GDDR6, which is different because I think all of the new AMD cards have had the cheaper GDDR6 compared to the Nvidia's GDDR6X, which is slightly faster. But the way they've got around this is they've actually this has been talked about before, but I don't think I've talked about it before because I didn't really understand it, was actually they have something called Infinity Cache. And the way the Infinity Cache works is it's basically 128 megabyte cache that buffers against reads and writes to the main memory, and it can provide a backstop for large operations that's a lot faster than having to just go straight to the VRAM. So the VRAM basically has a cache on it, which makes it a lot faster, which is comparable to GDDR6X when you're using this.
Yeah, CPU, the AMD CPUs are a very similar thing.
So this helps it to stay similar to GDDR6 in performance, which is on the 3000 series cards. So this, whereas the other cards were more targeted in 4K, this is going to be a 1440p card, similar to where I believe the 3060 and 3060 Ti are. They're kind of more 1440p cards. So the way the stack works is this is 40 compute units and 40 ray accelerators, 2321 base frequency, up to 2581. So it does have quite a high frequency there. I don't know. So this will be this is basically competing with the 3060 Ti and the 3070. So at 479 Monopoly money, this will be between
basically
this will be between the $400 MSRP for the Nvidia 3060 Ti and the $499 Nvidia RTX 3070. And we'll put it $100 less than the RX 6800.
Okay, again, I realize we're talking about Monopoly money here and not real money, but I think that's too expensive.
So, to put that into perspective, the RX 6800 has 60 compute units, and that is, but that base clock only goes up to 2105, whereas this card has like a pretty high base clock given like the technology on it, which would be pretty interesting to see like how what overclock, like it's way high, the clock speed is way higher than the other cards, but obviously it has less compute units and less ray accelerators, so it's going to be worse in rasterized rendering and ray tracing performance with the less amount of ray accelerators, but we'll have to see how that comes into play against the other AMD cards and the RTX cards.
Yeah, well, I'm concerned with the RTX has this massive DLSS 2.0 advantage, and I feel like AMD keeps doing this. They keep forgetting how good
AMD still has no DLSS competitor, which is sad to see because DLSS is getting huge with the Unreal Engine 4 implementation plugin.
I think this is priced way too high because of that. I honestly think that.
Well, the thing is, if theoretically, if you could buy this card,
Yeah, absolutely.
it would be a good alternative to the RTX 3070. Like it does slot into that nice price bracket where they're
On paper or in games?
well
With DLSS.
from their numbers, they are showing it.
Yeah.
They are showing it beat the. They're showing it beat the 2080 Super, which obviously is an older card, but I believe they're saying it should beat the. It should beat the 3070 as well.
Wasn't from this like aren't AMD in a lot of shit because like the lowest so before this card came out, the previous lowest end card they brought out doesn't it like have hardly any stock? Like they hardly made any of it. Like they might as well not.
Oh, so great question, Tony. Apparently, only a few thousand cards will be available for the entire European Union. So we've got another paper launch over here in the EA.
For fuck's sake! So it's not. So not only is it paper monopoly money, it's like just fake graphic cards. Like it's
it's like the people.
It's like. Oh.
Have you seen the people on eBay who are like tricking the reselling bots into? They're selling.
I don't use this word often, but the tossers on eBay.
They're selling the cardboard boxes of cards to trick scalpers into buying them.
Or a picture.
So the interesting thing about this as well is there's no plans for a crypto limiter similar to the RTX 3060. There's leaked that there might be a new 12GB 3080 Ti that may come out with a crypto limiter. We'll have to see more about that. But
every time I hear about the 3080 Ti, I hear about a crypto limiter. So.
The really interesting thing I found out about recently is Ethereum 2.0 is about to launch, and the reason this is interesting is this will further desensitize the use of GPUs for crypto mining. So if you don't know how this works, basically Ethereum 2.0, the network will transition from proof of work (POWs) consensus mechanism.
That's a typical mining thing.
Yeah. To a proof of stake, so a POS, a piece of shit. And the former
that's the one.
So the POW pits the computational power of a network participants against each other as they race. A network participants to race against each other as they race to crack cryptographic puzzles. This is for POS.
Yeah, the numerical. The numerical puzzle you have to break, and then you submit it to the
solving one of these puzzles first earns the miner the right to process a block of transactions and receive a cryptocurrency award. Yeah,
so that they get all the transactions attached to that, basically, or portion of the transactions attached.
So POS does away entirely with the mining part in favor of a system that rewards participants based on the value they have tied up in their network. In this setup, there's no need for turbocharged mining GPUs.
Yeah, my understanding of this is like you pay like your dollars or your pounds or euros into the network. Then it's like your capital. Like you can invest.
I may have fucked this up. I am nowhere near an expert on crypto mining.
Yeah, this is my interpretation of it. Yeah. Have you seen like the people complaining like, oh, on April 1st we're all gonna mine.
Yeah, so it
You've
seems
seen
like
that's so dumb.
There may be another. There may be when this happens. There may be a big third-party selling of graphics cards. We might actually be able to get stock thanks to this. We'll have to see if that actually comes through. It could actually even crash crypto if this goes through and doesn't.
Is Ethereum the biggest mining one at the moment? Right.
Ethereum. Yeah. I mean, if you're mining Ethereum because there's no point trying to mine Bitcoin. I believe. And other than if you're going to mine like Litecoins or something like that.
Yeah.
Through T-Rex buzzwords that I've heard from people that I know that do Bitcoin.
Yeah, we've never involved ourselves into bit. I think blockchain cryptocurrencies are going to be the future, just not in the way they're currently implemented. But I think it's interesting technology nonetheless.
I mean, Linus was saying like on the WAN show on the most recent one I was watching, he was saying like when they're not using their editing PCs, when they have to when they have to warm up the building, they just turn on mining because it warms up the building without having to pay heating costs. But I have the opposite problem where I have very bad cooling, so I try not to constantly be running my PC, otherwise it superheats up my room.
Yeah, we're not in wintry Canada. We're in limey England. Blighty England? I don't know what the phrase is.
Oi there, governor, have you got a license for that spoon?
Yeah.
But I'm in the winter and I'm constantly having to open my window when I play games because I've got like terrible.
We don't have, but compared to Canada, though, we don't have that cold winter.
So obviously, it doesn't make a lot of sense for me to mine, like.
No.
Given my heating situation, because people have been saying, well, it's just free heating, but
for
me, it doesn't make sense.
In that same WAN show, Luke was saying he couldn't because both of his neighbors turned up the heat massively.
Yeah, so he had a similar problem with me where he had a problem with too much heat, so he couldn't do mining.
So Linus's explanation made sense, and Luke couldn't do it. So yeah.
So if your room's really cold and you're like, oh, it's always so cold, it would make sense to just set up your GPU to start mining.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, obviously, when Ethereum 2.0, you won't be able to mine that, but you can mine Litecoins.
Oh, Joe, I've had I'm gonna pitch this to Linus, but I've had an idea. You know, they had the water-cooled room that you connected your PC to.
Yeah, I remember.
Hang on, okay. What if instead we pumped out the heat into air ducts from the back of the PC, right? And it's the central heating is powered by the PCs doing cryptocurrency.
Yes.
How do you feel about that?
Beautiful. And also, because I didn't understand this first. I thought mining on your GPU would wreck the card and put more wear and tear on it. But it seems really it doesn't at all. Good crypto miners will run their cards at lower voltage. They will actually undervolt their cards.
I remember.
So they will actually run better if people were gaming on it, sort of thing.
Yeah, because people like to increase the voltage when they're over.
Yeah, the biggest overhead is heat and voltage. Mm-hmm. So that is interesting to see.
In theory, as long as you don't get rid of a lot of the safety limiters, on the actual sensors, on the card, it should try and protect itself anyway, though. But obviously, that's not entirely true with the voltage.
So, Ethereum's transitioning from proof of work to proof of stake, which means there's going to be a lot less use for people to buy these cards for mining because mining is being taken out of the equation for the most popular mineable cryptocurrency in the world right now.
Angry miners on April 1st.
Yeah.
Not April Fools, apparently they're going to all mine at the same time, which will somehow prove something to someone.
The release date of this card is March 18th, 2021. Coincidence? The same day Super Nintendo World is opening in Japan. Coincidence? I think not.
Can I just say that Super Nintendo World is both weird, sick. But I also kind of want to go.
Same, yeah. Because they're opening it up in Universal Studios Japan, but then it's going to come later for the US one and stuff, so... It'll be interesting to go there one day. Anyway.
The next exciting time.
When lockdown, COVID is gone.
Yeah. And we got our first footage of Resident Evil Village running on a PC with ray tracing on the RX 6700 launch conference. They've shown it with ray tracing on and AMD.
My god, that's beautiful.
And AMD Fidelity FX, which could mean anything at this point because AMD Fidelity FX is 20 different effects at this point.
Is it? Okay. Yeah. It sounds like a stupid name.
Yeah.
Dude, okay, ray trace. I know ray tracing when you have a scene, right? Mm. Like a screenshot of a scene with RTX on and off. I find that I can not really see much of a difference, but when movement. It's so it's night and day almost.
They only really showed off 5.
It looks realistic.
In this conference. Yeah. But anyway, so we've got it confirmed that there will be ray tracing on the PC version as well as the PS5 version, which is cool to see. And then we'll talk about Epic Games, and I think we are done with the podcast. So, Epic Games has bought Mediatonic, the creators of the incredibly popular Fall Guys, has now part of the Epic Games family. So they have made some things clear with this acquisition. They have said Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout will remain purchasable on Steam and PlayStation. So if you own the games on these platforms, you'll still be able to play it there, and you will still receive all the future updates. And they have also said what this acquisition means for them is Fortnite and Rocket League already have tons of features we'd love to bring to Fall Guys. So they have the account system, crossplay, squad versus squad game modes, and being able to work with Epic Games will help them bring this technology over to Fall Guys. Yep.
Will I need to make an Epic? Will I have to assign my Epic account when I launch Fall Guys? I definitely own on Steam.
I don't know. I recently started playing Rocket League again on Steam, and I linked my Steam and Epic account sort of thing, but I don't know if it was mandatory. And also, I found out that Rocket League has workshop support, which I didn't know, and I was playing custom Rocket League maps, and holy shit, there's some really talented people on the Rocket League workshop. But I'm wondering how that works if you own it on Epic. Can you use
tough luck, I guess?
I could look it up now. Rocket League Workshop Epic Games. How does that work?
Yeah.
Do you have to download the mods manually, maybe?
Oh, yeah. Does it say it's a folder and you just put it in there and it will see it in game?
Apparently, it seems like they've disabled the function to directly fan-created maps for everyone who got the game in the Epic Games Store. We need a workaround. There's still an option to play custom maps how we used to. So it seems like there's a finicky way to get it working, but obviously Epic, that's a big thing with games on Epic is they don't have the killer app of Steam Workshop.
One problem with many, but yeah, I think that's actually a really big one, not having workshop of any kind.
Because that's something that would be something that would be huge for Fall Guys. Is the problem is there's not enough maps. If this game had Steam Workshop support, it would be massive. It would be really fun to play again. So I think
more friends-only games for Fall Guys as well would be quite good, right?
Yeah, set up your own custom lobbies. People made custom small Steam Workshop maps you can play with a couple of friends. Would be cool.
That would be really big for Fall Guys.
Okay, I can't believe I'm reading this. Epic has settled a lawsuit by giving people V-Bucks. You love to see it.
What?
Epic has settled a Fortnite and Rocket League lootbox lawsuit, so Epic will automatically add 1,000 V-Bucks, £6.49 in-game value, to each Fortnite Save the World account that was used to acquire a random item Loot Llama loot box after the 1st of July 2015, and 1,000 credits to each Rocket League account used to acquire a random item crate loot box. If you don't remember,
Fortnite is this fair payment?
Wait. So this is just for everyone who bought a loot box. But the actual lawsuit itself was saying that Epic violated state consumer protection laws for protecting minors.
Right.
So they have also said anyone who believes that they were affected by this can claim and retroactively get purchases back if they believe their minor was was enticed to buy loot boxes and didn't fully understand the ramifications of the purchase, possibly with their parents' credit card or stuff like that.
I'm gonna fair enough that they're gonna give the purchase back with them. Kind of annoying that you have to go and prove it. You can't just reverse it all. That's what I would have recommended. But surely they're just printing money to they just. I guess it's loss of revenue, but it's not actually a loss of anything for them right now.
So
for giving everyone this amount of V-Bucks.
Provides up to $26.5 in cash for benefits for US-based Fortnite and Rocket League players who believe their real money in-game purchases give rise to claim of consumer fraud, breach of contract, and other claim of damages, or who wish to obtain a partial refund for a purchase you made as a minor with your own money and without parental permission. Successful claimants can receive up to $50, 13,500 V-Bucks, or 13,000 Rocket League credits after submitting a full claim on their website. So if you were tricked into buying loot boxes from Epic Games, you can get some V-Bucks, guys.
Only if you're a minor, though.
If you were a kid.
Yeah, that I don't like. I know that's not.
Epic is still taking the stance that they don't believe that they violated these laws, but they're just willing to settle to get the lawsuit over and done with, basically.
I still think we need better gambling laws with blue boxes in general. But
and as well as this Mediatonic acquisition, Epic Games has bought the makers of Photogrammetry tool to help make their games look more realistic. So they have acquired the company Reality to bring its software Reality Capture into the Unreal Engine. So photogrammetry is a process of scanning real-world places, people and things using software to convert these images into scans for use in video games and other media. They have a video on how it works.
That's such a cool technology.
You could take a photo of something and then it would be turned into like a video game level or like a movie scene or something like that.
Yeah. I would like to point out, I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's not the same as making assets. Like, you still have to do like a lot of mesh work and a lot of cleaning up. Like, it's not like it's automatic in any way. And it's like a lot of work to like optimize it, to incorporate it into the actual game. It just makes it so much easier if you could just scan rocks, and that's why I've seen it.
Obviously, this technology is really freaking cool. And I'm gonna make the analogy that Epic now has the Thanos glove. For Unreal Engine 4.
They're getting the Infinity Stones.
They're getting the Infinity Gauntlet Stones, where DLSS plugin for Unreal Engine 4. Rad Game Tools, Core, Mediatonic, Rocket League, waiving the first 1 million in revenue, 12% royalty cut. The Thanos Gauntlet for Unreal Engine 4 to finally snap your fingers and destroy Unity is here. As it seems like Unity is still like a really big competitor for Unreal Engine 4, so it seems like they're having to they've made like a bunch of extra money from like obviously the Fortnite blowing up and stuff like that they're really doubling down to make sure they don't get overtaken in the market by Unity. As they
I didn't realize Unity was such a big competitor, to be honest, or such a big,
especially in the mobile market, especially in the mobile market.
True.
But Fortnite doesn't have any mobile games, so obviously they can't compete there. We'll still have to see what happens with that lawsuit. Final piece of news: Sinking City. So the shifty old publisher Namcom, who I believe have renamed. I can't remember were they called Big Ben Interactive or something before they renamed. Anyway,
I don't know.
They illegally put a pirated version of the game on Steam. So Frogwares, the developers, warned users not to buy this copy on Steam, and Frogwares have used DMCA to remove its own game on Steam, and it gets even better, Tony. So here's a refresher for people who don't understand what was going on. We talked about it in the podcast before. Namcom funded the development of the base game, then Frogware claimed Namcom wasn't paying them and removed the game from Steam. Namcom took them to court. While the case is ongoing, they were ordered to put the game back up. Frogware refused, so Namcom, allegedly but seemingly very truthfully, bought a copy from Game Planet, hacked it, removed logos of any reference to Frogwares, and uploaded a cracked version to Steam.
Yeah. So apparently, from what I understand, is that the publisher isn't breaching anything by uploading the game to Steam, because that is like a part of the current ongoing lawsuit. However, the DLC was made after and not with funding from the publisher.
So the version has DLC that Namcom didn't fund and has no rights to.
And has nothing to do with the court case. And that seems to be... they seem to just be... I don't know.
But I believe the issue was that Namcom had the rights to sell it on a different gaming platform, but they didn't have the rights to sell it on Steam, was the deal that they made.
Okay. Oh god, that's even more complicated. Yeah, I hope this court case, because like they seem to both be like they're both on the social media seem to be
they're pointing.
They both seem to think they're in the right, genuinely. Like they both seem. I don't know. They both seem like they don't. None of them seem like they're being like a typical EA or Ubisoft, or like being like really shitty. Like they both obviously. I think both sides are in the wrong to some extent, but we don't know what's going on right now. Like it's so weird. So I know Jim was saying was like they seem to be like two divorced parents. And it's like what the hell's going on?
Yeah, Sinking City was first removed from multiple storefronts back in August 2020, with Frogware saying at the time the publisher breached the contract.
Oh, that's one other thing. Okay, in the court case, I might be misquoting this, but I'm pretty sure this is what's happened.
Yeah.
The court has told the developers you cannot go onto social media and tell people not to buy it. You're not allowed to do that. So that's also a breach, apparently.
Right.
So everyone's just doing shitty things, apparently. So
it just seems like such a crazy.
It's a mess.
It's a crazy situation where a publisher has pirated a game, hacked into it, and removed any instance to the developer.
Yeah,
added DLC. Added DLC that they don't own to it. Uploaded to Steam, and then the actual developer has gone and had to DMCA their own game from Steam. It just seems like such a clusterfuck of a situation.
While the court case is going on, and having to pay for that. Yeah, it's
currently
insane.
There's a court case going on in France. Like, we'll keep you updated when we learn more about this, but this just seems kind of insane.
Everyone seems to be doing something slightly wrong, but we don't know what the hell's going on, so I'm gonna not actually judge any party right now.
So that's the end of the podcast. So I'll read the Peter Molydeux tweet, which is a great tweet based on the news we gave on the show. He's posted a photo of the banana controller patent from Sony. He said, "I tweeted this exact same concept over a decade ago. Everyone laughed at me. Now Sony is doing it, and it's suddenly a cool, fun idea." So yeah, guys, Peter Molydeux, a decade ago, he invented the banana controller.
Confirmed.
So
wait,
guys.
I can't remember this weird Sony controller. In one of the replies, they posted like an old Sony controller.
Right.
It looks like a banana as well.
Yeah, what do I have memory?
I vaguely remember this.
Yeah, maybe it was just like a concept. Usually at
probably
at E3 and CES, they show like
really out there.
They
things.
show like technology that never gets made. Like famously, like that fucking Razer mask that they showed at CES. That's never gonna be made. Like that's not a real thing. Like they always show off stuff that never actually gets made.
Yeah. It does look like a banana though, I can't deny.
Yep. Anyway. You can check us out and everything in between podcast on YouTube if you want to check the VOD. Twitch.tv/Scorn if you're watching the VOD now and you want to catch this live. And at Scorn2000 if you want to keep up to date with what I am doing over there. That is the end of the podcast. Goodbye.
Bye.